Yaakov, your background is a lovely thing for us to see. We're happy to see it.
Thank you. But what's the difference where you see me if it's only on Zoom?
No, because you're home. It means your internet's gonna work, Mr. Hashem.
I hope so. I've been busy with my kids. My kids are stranded in Florida trying to get them home for school. The whole day.
Since this morning?
My kids were thrown off the flight. They were thrown. The flight was about to take off. They were thrown off the flight.
Why? What were they doing right?
Because they're not allowing. They even though they let a reservation go through, they did not allow unaccompanied minors for these 2 days because they're afraid if they get snowed in, whatever, rained in somewhere. What are they doing with these minors? Right?
Is this Spirit?
So even though they told us and they charged us unaccompanied minors, they charged us, and then they still didn't allow it. So they're stuck in the airport there. In comes a Hamish guy, Chassidish guy, hardly spoke English. Said, "Will you take achrayas for them?" They said, "Sure." Delta arranged it. Gesundheit, he could take achrayas, no problem. They got onto the plane. They're sitting on the plane, seatbelted and everything. The stewardess comes over and says, "Do you know them?" And he says, "I don't know their names, but the stewardess, okay, you're off the flight."
Was it the Chassidish guy really messed this one up? Yaakov.
Basically, he said he didn't know their names, but
maybe he thought they were the IRS.
He said we arranged it with the Delta. We arranged it. They merged whatever, and nope. And my kid didn't fight him.
So
it's like no, they threw him off, and then they closed the door to the plane when my kids were still on the gang, whatever you call it, not the gangplank, the jetway,
the gateway.
Whatever it is, I said, so then the lady I called, my son puts me on, I said, I understand, you said you can't fly unaccompanied minors, and now you just threw them off a plane and leaving them in an airport. Who's going to take them? Whatever, I'm telling you, it was mamish.
Do they even have their luggage?
They didn't have luggage.
So what happened now?
If they would have had luggage, it would have been better.
So Yaakov,
Nothing, so I got him on a flight Tuesday morning, but whatever, the real disaster.
Which kids are these?
Shalom, Meir, and my 2 youngest.
Shalom's considered a minor still? No.
He's 17. JetBlue, the Delta's the only one that Mamish doesn't allow less than 18, and he's going to be 18 in a week.
Wow.
They're the only airline.
Aaron, I was going to say something. You said, which kids are these? They're from Yanam, no?
Leave it to you. Leave it to you, Parrots.
Uncle Parrots.
Yeah, anyways, all right. Okay, so let's go. A lot of these next few daf are very geschmack. A lot of Sachen to discuss. So, yeah.
So Yaakov, if you're having still issues, I'm going Wednesday for the day back and forth. I don't mind.
Oh, I hope they're really home by then. I'm saying he starts yeshiva first day of high school tomorrow. Otherwise, I wouldn't care. My kids don't have school.
Okay, so I'm going back and forth Wednesday. If you still haven't.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
They went back to your daughter?
Yeah, it's a disaster. Whatever. Anyways.
Oh boy. And yeshiva's here or upstate?
No, here. Anyways, okay. So Kemaseo B'chol, right? So we said, you see the 2 dots on Mem Heyom Beis, right? So we said that the Kemaseo B'chol is the same way we do it on Shabbos, but that's not what this Gemara is going on. The Gemara is really going in that Rabbi Yochanan ben Brachos says in the Mishnah, said that they would take the trees, the branches, and they would hit them on the ground, right? That's what it said. So Amar Rav Huna, my time in the Rabbi Yochanan ben Brachos, what does Rabbi Yochanan ben Brachos say? Why are they bringing these branches to hit them? They say kapos shnayim, because it says kapos, like we've had quite a few times. Kapos is plural. Achas lulav, achas mizbeach. One is for lulav, the regular lulav, and one is for the mizbeach, for Rabbanan. And the Rabbanan who don't say that you're supposed to take these lulavim and hit them. Amri kapos ksiv. It says kapos without a plural. Yeah, Reb Levi Omar Ketamar. Reb Levi says that the reason why you only bring one is with like a tamar. No, I'm sorry, not bring one. He's explaining why Rabbi Yochanan ben Brachos is saying that you have to bring the branches and hit them. Ma tamar zeh ein loy elo lev echad. A palm tree only has one heart, right? Which means like the sap or whatever it is that's inside. Af Yisrael ein lohem elo lev echad. They only have one heart. When they have one heart is to Hashem Yisbarach. Lavim sheba shemayim to avim sheba shemayim. So that's why you dafka bring a palm tree, palm branches, right? Fine. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Yeah, so that's that. Now we get into a lot of basic halachas of brachos and when you make brachos. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, lulav shiva v'sukka yom echad. Right? Lulav is shiva and sukkah is yom echad. My timer. Lulav the misaki, meaning what he means by that, right? You make the bracha. Just he doesn't say that he's referring to bracha, but that's what it's talking about, right? That lulav is shiva. You make bracha on lulav for all 7 days, and sukkah you only make 1 day, meaning the first time you go into the sukkah you make a bracha, and that's it. My timer, lulav the mifsaki leilos miyamim. Lulav, as we learned, only is a mitzvah during the day, not at night. So every day it's like a hefsik. At night it's a hefsik, and then you have to start it up again. So you make a new bracha. Kol yoyma mitzvah ba'pei nafshehu, right? And every day, memela, since you don't take the lulav at night, so every day is a new mitzvah. It's a mitzvah ba'pei nafshe. It's its own mitzvah. Sukkah the loy mafseki leilas miyamim, but sukkah that's not mafsek nights from day kulu shiva kechad yoyma arichadamo. All 7 days is like one long day, right? You go sit in the sukkah and that's it. Which should be, right? Really, you should go into the sukkah and stay there. The only thing you should leave for is to go to the bathroom. Obviously, we don't do that, which we'll get to, but that's what it's saying. Lamaisa, you're supposed to go into the sukkah and not leave for 7 days. Yeah? So, fine. He says the other way around. Sukkah, you make a bracha for all 7 days. And lulav, yom echad, and the lulav is 1 day. My timer, sukkah Dioyraysa shiva. Sukkah, that it's a mitzvah Dioyraysa of all 7 days. So you make a bracha anytime you go into the sukkah. Lulav Dirabanan, but lulav Dirabanan sagalei b'chad yom. It's enough for 1 day. Right? So that he's being machalak between Dioyraysa and Dirabanan. Kiyasa Rabin, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, echad zeh ve'echad zeh shiva. And this is the way we paskin, obviously. Lulav and sukkah, we make brachas all 7 days. So Amar Rabbi Yosef, Nakut the Rabba bar Barachana b'yadcha. You should take Rabba bar Barachana's din in your hand. The kula amiroi kaime kavasei b'sukkah. All amiroim hold like him by hilchas sukkah. Right? Okay. So now before we go weiter, this bottom toises. So the bottom toises says that sukkah and lulav are not the same when it comes to bracha. Right? Because lulav, meaning he's saying you make a bracha every day, right? Sukkah and lulav, you make brachas all 7 days. But it's different because he says, a lulav, you only make a bracha 1 time and during the day, meaning even if you take the lulav many times during the day, you still only make it once a day. But sukkah, anytime you go in and out of the sukkah, let's say you go into the sukkah in the morning and you eat, then you go out on a chalamaya trip, you come back for lunch, and then you eat. You got to make another bracha, right? Which is no different than tefilin, which we're about to get to. That every time you put on tefilin, you make a new bracha. Yeah, but not for lulav. The question is,
you
why?
don't get another mitzvah for lulav
Because you only have to take it once a day, right? Very good, right? L'chayr, that's the teretz. Lulav, you take once a day. Meaning tefillin, there's a mitzvah to wear it every minute you wear it, right? You're getting another mitzvah. Every time you have to eat, you sit in the sukkah, it's another mitzvah. Lulav is, no, you take a lulav once a day, finish. Once you took it, you took it. Even if you decide to pick it up again in the afternoon, you're not getting an additional mitzvah. Fine. So Meisvei, the Gemara asks a kasha, now we're on Tamid Aleph. Lulav la'atzmai. If somebody makes a lulav for himself, now that doesn't mean he makes a lulav, that it's a man-made lulav, right? But he ties it up and prepares it. So he says, Baruch shechayanu he should make the shechayanu when he's putting the lulav and esrog together.
Excuse me,
No.
Yaakov.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The ones who say that it's all part of one mitzvah, you take the lulav, but you have to keep it till after the shanis. You have to hold it through Hallel and through the shanis. So does that make a difference according to that shita?
What do you mean?
Because it's not just a mitzvah to pick it up for 6 seconds, make a bracha, pick it up 6 seconds and put it down.
You mean you want to say that it's a new part of the mitzvah?
I don't know. I mean, there's such a shita, right? That's one of the reasons the Sfard benches by Shachris, not by Shanis by Shachris, not by Musaf, like Ashkenaz, because it's all part of the mitzvah. That's one of the reasons I saw why they do that.
Yeah. So that's what. Yeah, I don't know. Because they want.
I think the Aruch HaShulchan, if I remember, the Aruch HaShulchan brings down the Machlokes
about. Yeah, I'll have to check. I don't remember.
Rabar, you mean it's not out of convenience they do it that way?
No, it's not out of convenience to make the 6:53. No, or blow shofar before kedusha on the whole Elul. No, that's not the reason.
Very good. I thought there's a minim to blow by kedusha during Elul.
Only in the white shul has such a minim. I don't know who else has such a minim.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
Can I add to Aaron Zahara?
Yeah.
We had the Gemara before about shiare lulav, shiare mitzvah. They're also mechaper. The very least, Hashanas is shiare mitzvah.
So what Mamela for shiare mitzvah and then what?
So why don't we make a bracha on shiare mitzvah for mechaper? If they do all that they do, they blow away the ruchas rois, all of that. It is a mitzvah.
I don't know. I don't know what that's all about, man.
Whatever it was, it does something. But maybe we should talk and make a bracha. It obviously is some kind of mitzvah.
I guess it's got to be. You're right. It has to be some sort of mitzvah.
So us Ashkenazim to put it down and pick it up after Musaf. We should make another bracha.
Gershon, you work on the nusach of that bracha. Okay, you work on that.
Well, then we'll get that'll be on Amud Beis or tomorrow's stuff. I don't remember. Okay, so anyway, so according to this shita, when you make
Yaakov, when are we doing the shechayanu? Rashi implies that the shechayanu is being made erev sukkos.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
How are you making a bracha on something that if it hasn't come yet?
You're making
your mitzvah is not. You're not mechayiv the mitzvah till the next day.
You're making shechayanu.
A shechayanu on what?
A shechayanu that
new
you
creation, dude.
Right.
And
that
if you created it 5 days before Sukkot, can you make a bracha?
Yes,
What?
A
yes.
month before
Why not?
Sukkot?
Why not?
You're making
no
shechayanu's pshat that you. No, shechayanu is pshat.
The mitzvah, can I do it now? Why not? The month before
You
Sukkot.
can't do it 5 days before Yom Tov. That's Yom Kippur.
Why can't I make a shechayanu 3 months before Sukkot? Because I'm putting together a lulav and esrog. Where is this idea that the mitzvah, if the mitzvah is not
Because
shechayanu, you make a shechayanu.
Akiva,
You never make a shechayanu until the day comes.
Would you let him answer you?
Shechayanu is not a birchas hamitzvos, right? It's a bracha that you're happy that you lived to see this. So that's it. So that's enough.
See what?
It's not a
There's no
birchas
mitzvah.
It doesn't make a difference. I don't do it a mitzvah. There's no mitzvah to eat new fruit either.
So any day of the year you can make a shechayanu on a mitzvah from 5 months down the road.
Not a mitzvah. You're not making a bracha on the mitzvah. You're making a bracha on the
that you're going to get to the mitzvah in 5 months from now.
No, what? Why are you connecting it with a mitzvah?
If it's Erev Yom Tov, the mitzvah's not here yet.
No, but he is not making a shechayanu on the mitzvah. He's making shechayanu on the lulav and the esrog, hadasim, and aravas that he got to wrap them together.
And you can do that any day of the year, or is it only Erev Yom Tov?
That's a good question. Can you do it a day after Sukkot for the next year? No, because you just had it. So it has to be a new season. But once you're right. How early? That's a good question. How early can you do this? Can you do this from Tisha B'Av?
And does this apply to every shechayanu we make?
You can make a shechayanu at any time, as long as it's something new that's a new season, which is why Akiva, it's a good point that why a lot of places can say nowadays you cannot make a bracha on new fruits, because we have in the old days when it was in season, that was it. You didn't get it. Nowadays, because of the imports, you can have fruits at all times. So there's no good feeling that you got to live. Shechayanu is that you got to live to see another season, right? Like, oh, I got to see.
But it's specifically a season, not an occasion.
It can be an occasion too that you got to a certain occasion.
So a kid's wedding, a kid's bar mitzvah,
That's also a
graduation.
shayla. How come they don't make? How come that's a question? How come we don't make shechayanu on bar mitzvah? How come we don't make shechayanu on weddings? You think a wedding you should make a shechayanu on, but have bris, right? Bris, the gra held you make shechayanu on a bris. When we don't do the shechayanu bris. It's a whole sugya. It's
so shechayanu is that you're saying thank you. I got to live to this next moment, right?
Correct.
So when you make a shechayanu on the first day Yontif, and then again on the second day Yontif, or on Yom Kippur, and then again at Sukkot, you're making a shechayanu that you live 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to see Yom Kippur. Yeah, you got to see Yom Kippur.
Even though the first day, second day Yontif.
I'm telling you, not comparing the same thing.
That's a suffix. It's a suffix yontif.
It's the first day and second day yontif. Do the same. It doesn't matter. That's not.
But you're making. I'm going on the shechayanu. You're going on one that you said yesterday.
That's not a good question, because we make a shechayanu on yontif. We make a shechayanu on yontif.
But you made it already yesterday.
That doesn't matter, because we repeat yontif.
You're not happy.
Correct.
You made it
I understand that you repeat yontif. I understand, but I'm saying if the shechayanu is going on that you live to this point, you already did that yesterday.
No, it's part of.
You live to this point. So now
Yom Tov Sheni, it's a new mitzvah. It's a new mitzvah. That's what
that means it's going on the mitzvah. That means it's going on the mitzvah.
But then there's such a concept of making a bracha shechayanu on a mitzvah and also on a new occasion. That's really what's bothering Akiva. He's saying here you're making the shechayanu on the mitzvah. Right, so the mitzvah didn't come yet. It's how you make it. I'm saying that the shechayanu is not on the mitzvah. The shechayanu is on the fruit.
Right, come 2 weeks from now. We're gonna be making so many shechayanus in the next 2 weeks.
You made a shechayanu on Rosh Hashanah, on Kol Nidre, on Sukkot, and in the first day Chalamoid, somebody gave you a 500,000 Lamborghini. You'd make another shechayanu. No.
Okay.
Or you walked out of your house and you lived another day. No.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, let's see weiter. Yeah, we got a lot more shechayanu brachos going on here. So anyways, again, I said lulav la'atzmai, I'm a baruch shechayanu v'kiyanu v'yanu l'zman hazeh. Not lulav says boy. I'm a baruch shechayanu mitzvos v'tzonu al netilas lulav. That means obviously on Yom Tif, right? V'afal pi sheberach alav yom rishon. Even though you made a bracha on the first day, chayz mevarach kol shiva, you make a bracha on all 7 days. So that's one case. Now we didn't get to the stira yet. Again, at the end of this whole thing is a stira. So according to this, you're making a bracha on lulav every day. If you make a sukka to yourself, this is also baruch shechayanu. We don't do this, right? When you build the sukkah, you make the shechayanu. Nichnas leisheba. When you go in to sit in it, Aimer Ashek Deshanu V'Tzasav tzonu leisheba sukkah v'kiman sheberach yom rishon. And once you make a bracha on the first day, then you no longer make a bracha. So what we have here is yastira, kasha lulav al lulav, kasha sukka sukkah. It's a kasha from both. In one it says that it's a bracha every day, and in the other brayso it says it's not. And then here it's the opposite. So bishlam al lulav like kasha. So we have an answer for lulav and lulav. Kamas mancha Beis Hamikdash kayim. One is talking about when the Beis Hamikdash is around. So then you'd have to make every day because it's Dioyraysa. Kamas mentioned Bisman Shein Beis Hamikdash kayim. One is somewhere where the Beis Hamikdash is not around, and therefore you'd only make one bracha. Elo sukka kasha, but sukka and sukka is a kasha. So when it answers Tanoi, it's a Machlokes Tanoi. The Tanya, and now we get into the more practical also. Tefilin calls mancha menichin bevarach alein. Anytime one puts on tefilin, menichin, right from the word lahaniach tefilin, to lay tefilin, that's what it's really. That's the way they translate it. Anytime somebody puts on tefillin, he makes a bracha on them. Divrei Rebbe. You only make a bracha on tefillin on shachris yourself itself. We're on Mem Vav Amud Aleph, around 15 lines down.
What about a
hefsek?
It's not a hefsek?
What?
It does have to during the day. I'm saying goes to the bathroom, goes to
Right. So according to this sheet, it doesn't make a difference. It's like lulav. You only make one bracha a day.
Would that be true, Lagabi Tzitzis also?
yeah, but lulav after you did it in the morning, you
I mean, would he? No, but right. So the same thing with lulav.
Tefillin people do it the whole day.
Correct. But even so, this shita holds you only make a bracha once.
Does this mean
right?
they hold it? You only make a bracha on a mitzvah chiyuvis. So once you've been yotze tefillin, you don't need to make a new bracha to put it on again. You're mechuyev to put it on once. Tefillin. There's a chachamim saying that you only make a bracha on mitzvah chiyuvis as opposed to a rishus. Is that the chilek here?
It's not a rishus. He holds that there's a mitzvah a whole day to wear tefillin. He's not changing what the mitzvah.
There is a mitzvah to wear the whole day. But I have been yotze of the mitzvah putting on tefillin once I put it on once.
Correct. So, but you even if you're going to put on,
there's no mitzvah chiyuvis to wear it the whole day. Otherwise, we'd all have to do it.
We do all have to do it. There is a mitzvah chiyuvis to wear tefillin all day. The mitzvah tefillin is all day.
It's if anything,
we just can't keep ourselves clean.
Correct. Nowadays with shvach, yeah. That's what it is. Let's see the other sheetas. This is one sheet that you make on one bracha on tefillin. Itmar, so the Gemara says, Abai Amar halach hilchas karevi. The halacha is like Revi, where you make a bracha on tefillin every time you put it on, which is what we do, right? Let's say somebody goes to the bathroom, gedoylin, comes back, he makes a new bracha. Or if he decides to put on tefillin again for mincha, make a new bracha. Rava Amar hilchas karabanan. Rava says Allah is like Rabbanan. Someone Amari bra of Shmuel. So Amari, the son of the daughter of Shmuel, said, Chazina le Rava the loy avid kishmaitza. I see that Rava didn't do like the way he said it. Right? Ela maktim v'koi, he went v'koi v'ayal lebeisaki. What he did is he would get up early. Maktim means koidim, get up early v'koi, and get up v'ayal lebeisaki. He would go to the bathroom v'nafik, and he would go out umashi yadei umanach tefillin umavarach. He would wash his hands, put on tefillin, and then make the bracha on tefillin. And if he needed to go another time, ayal lebeisaki, he'd go to the bathroom v'nafik and come out umashi yadei, wash his hands umanach tefillin umavarach. He would put on the tefillin and he'd make a bracha. So you see that he didn't even go with what he said because he made multiple brachas in the day on tefillin. We also do like Rebbe, and we make a bracha on all 7 days. So basically we're saying, even though sukkah isn't it, we're saying that's there's one mitzvah to sit in the sukkah, starts on day 1 and ends on day 7, so it's one long bracha, yet we still make a bracha every day. So tefillin is the same thing. Right, and the other shita says it's not like that, right? So, which, by the way it works.
What does it mean? What does it mean? It's a richter. I understand I know what a richter means, but what you sit in the sukkah the first day? There's a mitzvah every day to sit. What's?
No, it's one long mitzvah. It's one long mitzvah.
Then you never. Maybe you should never leave.
If I become a mitzvah in the middle, if somebody becomes a mitzvah in the middle, so. It was one big mitzvah and he wasn't yaitza?
He was yaitza, but every time you leave he became
a mitzvah chalamayit sukkahs. So
yeah.
if it's one mitzvah from the beginning of sukkahs, he wasn't yaitza because he was a cotton.
Correct. So what's the problem? I don't know what you're saying.
You're saying that somebody becomes a mitzvah middle of chalamayit is not yaitza the mitzvah sukkah?
No, you still get a sukkah to wear it. You still have a mitzvah to sit in the sukkah, whatever you can, but he did lose out on the first few days.
Zev, usually people come by mitzvah in the middle of sphere, not in the middle of sukkahs.
This is the shiloh, middle of sphere. We have the same shiloh, middle of sphere.
Right, same shiloh, exactly. It's a mamish the same shiloh. That's mamish it. Yeah, 100%.
Reb Zev, you miss going over your kids' bar mitzvah shettles. Just admit it.
Well, now he's got the anicle. He's got the anicle to work on with the bar mitzvah pshat. But anyway, so just to clarify the hefsek, the way we paskin with putting on tefillin, making new brachas, if you go to the bathroom, what we call ketanim, parents remember that text, yeah? Should put it out there, right? We should go, you should send it out. But when you go to the bathroom ketanim, which is urine, number one, however you want to call it, so then since me'ikar adin, you're allowed to go to the bathroom with the tefillin on, you don't make a new bracha. When you go to the bathroom gedolim, right, then because you're not allowed to do that with the tefillin, so therefore you have to make a new bracha. That's the way it works. It's like the same rule is whenever you're being mafsik, so then you need to make a new bracha, right? So tzitzis, like Kiva was asking about tzitzis, right? So tzitzis, the way we paskin would be the same thing. If you took off your tzitzis for a bunch of hours, you'd have to make a new bracha, even though obviously there are cholkim. Yeah, fine.
I'm asking, even if you're not being mafsik, the way we're pasking, even if you, anytime you take off your tzitzis, even if you're not mafsik, you should go ahead. No, is this then because you're being mafsik? Because we're saying a yom ha'arichta. If it's yom ha'arichta, when is there ever a hefsek really?
No, so that's what we're saying. But sukka, when you're mafsik, then you have to go. Then you have to.
It's only when you're mafsik we're saying this. Then it's not stop every single time you walk the sukkah. The din of Rebbe that you're making a bracha every single time you go in. That's because you're being mafsik. Or lagavi tefillin when you're putting it on. He's saying because you're mafsik.
Yeah, because you were mafsik. Yeah, 100%. I hear you. Yeah, but that's exactly. That's the exact same case. I think.
I thought it's stam of every single time you're putting it on. Nothing to do with being mafsik. Because I assumed because it's yom ha'arichta, it didn't matter.
No, if you put on a new pair, so it's considered a new thing, right? Okay, let's see. I saw Rav Papa, the kol amos the manach tefillin mevorach. Anytime he would put on tefillin, he would make a bracha every single time. Rabbanan de Rav Ashi, the Rabbanan from Rav Ashi, kol amos the mashamshi ba. This is interesting. The mashmashi ba, I'm sorry. The mashmashi behu. When anytime they would touch the tefillin, mevarchi, they would make the bracha. So what does that mean? Meaning
those mirror guys would have a big problem.
That probably they make a lot of brachas. Yeah. Right, the Gemara in Yuma. Remember, we had the Gemara in Yuma that we learned out from the tzitz, from the Kohen Gadol, that you're supposed to constantly be touching your tefillin. So he said you should do that. That's Mar Zutra holds. Every time you touch your tefillin, you should make a bracha, right? And because that's a mitzvah. Yeah, okay. The Taisus is interesting Taisus, but we don't have time now. Second the bottom Taisus, because really there's a bracha to make when you take off the tefillin, right? Which we don't do. There are a lot of these hanhagas from different mitzvahs we don't do. Fine. So mitzvahs lulav kol shiva. The mitzvah the lulav to make a bracha is all 7 days. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Amar Yom Rishon mitzvahs lulav. The first day is a mitzvah lulav. Mikan ve'elach mitzvah zekanim. From there on, which we had yesterday's daf, it's a mitzvah of the zekanim. Since it's just a mitzvah of the zekanim, then you don't make a bracha, right? Because again, he's sort of differentiating between Dioyraysa and Dirabanan. Every day is a mitzvah zekanim, even the first day. So the obvious question, the first day you can't say is a mitzvah of the zekanim, right? That's a mitzvah Dioyraysa. Ema bar mi yom rishon. It means except for yom rishon. So that's exactly what Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, right? That you make the bracha on the first day, right? And that's it. So Ema v'chein amar Rav Yitzchak. So it's enechanami. He's not switching. He's not disagreeing. He's saying the same din. V'amar Rav. I'm sorry.
Rav Yitzchak a Tana?
Yes.
We have another raya here. V'chein amar Rav Yitzchak from 500 years earlier.
Fair enough. Very good. Enechanami. That's l'chara. Yeah. Good point. Vaf Rav Sover Kol Shiv. Unless you say Rebbe is a mistake. I don't know. Mustama not.
I think Rabbi Yitzchak. I've never heard of a Rabbi Yitzchak. Is a Rabbi Yitzchak a Tama? You ever heard of a Rabbi Yitzchak in Amayra?
I don't know. I always remembered it as Rabbi Yitzchak, but that's no, because I don't remember, it don't mean anything. Right? Okay, so Va'af Rav Savar Kol Shiva Mitzvos Lulav. All 7 days you make the bracha on lulav. Damar Rav Chia Barashi Amar Rav Hamad Ner Shel Chanukah Tzarech Levarech. Oh, so if you make the bracha on the Chanukah menorah, then you have to make a bracha, right? Meaning every day, even though Chanukah is obviously a Dirabanan, so you make a bracha. So he's saying the same thing would be by lulav. Even if you just see the Chanukah menorah, you make a bracha. Right? Now, what's that referring to? That's only referring to somebody who's not going to have anybody lighting for him at home. Meaning, guys doesn't own a home, right? So there's a fascinating tosfos here at the bottom. What's the pshat that by Chanukah is the only time that you see that you make a mitzvah on seeing it? You make a bracha on seeing the mitzvah, right? Let's say a guy doesn't have let's say a newlywed, right? He has a sukkah. I would say he doesn't have a sukkah. So should he make a bracha when he sees a sukkah?
What about Bari Mori Aish?
No, but that's because we're praising Hashem or acknowledging that He created fire. I'm saying, but this is talking about bracha that you have to do, and if you don't do it, you make a bracha on seeing it, right?
Maybe you should make a shechayanu every time he sees a sukkah.
Oh, okay. So, or when you see a new candle, right? So Tosfos says other mitzvahs, lulav and sukkah, they didn't say a bracha for raya, only by ner Chanukah because of the love of the nes, right? And then that's his first teretz, because we just have such happiness because of the nes, so we want you to participate. The second teretz is interesting, is because many people did not own houses, and since they didn't own houses, how can you make you can't, the chachamim were only masakin if you own a house, right? So many people didn't own houses. They were traveling, they didn't own houses, so they weren't part of the whole mitzvah. So they said, make a mitzvah on seeing, right?
Well, if you're rental, you don't bench Chanukah.
No, as long as you have home ownership or you have a bailus, if you have some sort of house, you don't have to.
Where did they sleep?
Where did they sleep? They went.
They slept in the sukkah that stove built 5 months before Yontif.
That's they slept in shuls and stuff like that, or they had short-term rentals, and punked by Chanukah they didn't have, they bounced around.
I only keep my lulav 5 months before. Sukkah's right before.
Okay, fine. Okay, very good.
Right. So the lulav grata works. Right. We said a dried out lulav is very hard to find, but the kasha is from mezuzah.
The Heilige Yidden that lit in the camps, they made a raya or lahadlik.
Why wouldn't they make lahadlik if they lit?
That's called a home?
I don't know if they had a place. I don't know. I don't talk. But yeah, so lulav, because otherwise you have a kasha from mezuzah. Mezuzah is also only a mitzvah if you have a. Right, Tosfos doesn't like the second answer, because if that's the case, if somebody's homeless, then maybe he should walk by a mezuzah. When he walks by a mezuzah, he should make a bracha, right? Which we know that doesn't happen. So okay, whatever it is. But also,
how do you have no idea of overlasi yasin over here when it comes to this type of bracha? Shouldn't this is a bracha? You already saw it, but by the time you make the bracha, you already saw it.
Tiago, how come we celebrate 8 nights of Pesach? If they had enough for one night, we really should only do 7.
Right. Hi, parents. Anyways. So
the children should ask.
Correct.
Except the children are in Florida. They can't.
Yeah.
The bracha that the raya makes is a bracha on mitzvos, or is some al presume nisa?
Oh, I mean Akiva's thing.
It's not a bracha on mitzvos. He didn't do a mitzvah. Doesn't have to be overlast yasin.
Yeah, here I don't know. Is it a Brachos a mitzvah? It's probably Brachos a nes. I don't know. I'm not sure. But again, the point is though, only somebody who doesn't have anybody lighting for him at home. If somebody's lighting for somebody at home, according to most shitas, then you don't make like a guy's on a business trip. Mikaradin is yatsa with his wife, or his roommates, whoever. Somebody lights for him. Somebody, as long as, or somebody goes into your house and lights for you, Mikaradin you yatsa like that. So then you wouldn't make it. Fine. My mevorach. So what bracha do you make? 3 lines up in the wide lines. Amar Rav Yehuda Yom Rishon. The first day you say Hamadlik, Mevorech, Shalosh. The Madlik, one who lights, makes 3 brachas, right? Haroy Mevorech Shtayim. And one who just sees makes 2, meaning because the first day it's the shechayanu mitzvos of lahadlik ner shel Chanukah, and then nisam lavesenu and shechayanu. And the raya only makes 2, which is shechayanu and nisam. Mikan ve'elech madlik mevorech shtayim, v'raya mevorech achas. From there on, the madlik makes 2 brachas, right? Nisam and shechayanu. But the raya can't say obviously shechayanu says it's only lahadlik ner shel Chanukah because he's not lighting. So he's just seeing. See, Akiva, that's really what it's saying. So the Sha'as Anis is not really the bracha on the mitzvah. Fine. Where were we commanded? Right? This is a major. How can you write Sivanu? We discussed it a couple of days ago. How can you write the word Sivanu? We were commanded by Hashem. What do you mean? You weren't commanded by Hashem. The Rabbanan made it up. Right? So we say Meloi Sasur because there's a passuk in the Torah that says, don't turn away from what the Rabbanan say. So since you're not allowed to turn away from the Rabbanan say, so therefore you're over and unavailable. Anytime you don't listen to them,
so then why?
The
Dirabanan is really Dioyraysa when it comes to Birkas and mitzvos.
Yeah,
so
correct.
So where does the Gemara say you shouldn't? I don't have the Gemara is saying, oh, it's Dirabanan. It's Dioyraysa. Every Dirabanan when it comes to Brachos is really Dioyraysa.
Correct. That's exactly what it's saying.
So what is the Gemara? Why is the Gemara being mechal between Dioyraysa and Dirabanan? It's all Dioyraysa, really.
Yeah. So it seems like you have to say pshat that they were masakin. And what do you call it? They were masakin they were decided that the Rabbanan were only going to be masakin their brachas on things that really come from the Torah. That's what I think. I don't know if that lumdus really works, but that's what I think. That's one way. But I'm not going to aviך ויגדך, right? Which is ask your father, and he'll tell you over. Fine. So, my mamayet zman. What should he leave out? Zman. Mamayet nes kol yom eisei. There was a nes every day, right? So that's you only leave out the shechayanu because you're not going to make a shechayanu every day. Fine. That was in parentheses. He learned it behedya. Amar Rav kol shiva mitzvos lulav. All 7 days you make a mitzvah. You make a bracha on the lulav. Fine. So Dirabanan, I say sukka la'atzmai. Somebody who makes a sukka himself. I'm a baruch shechayanu. Nichnas leishiva. Once you go into sit, I'm a baruch hashekidashanu. Leishiva sukka. Haisa suya v'aymedes. But let's say the sukkah is built all year round. So how can you make a shechayanu on the building? Im yachal l'chadash b'davar mevarech. Im lav. And if not, if you could be mechadash something in it, meaning you take the schach, you put on a little more, or shake it, or you do another wall, and then you make shechayanu. Lulav l'kashikanes leishiv b'mavarech shtayim. When you go in, you make shtayim. Right?
Why isn't that a different shechayanu on the yontif itself?
Oh, so it's Taisus Kasha. Taisus Kasha says, why are you not making shechayanu on the sukkah and on Yom Tov itself? Okay. Fine. It's an Amar Rav Ashi, and this is the way we paskin. Chazina le Rav Kahana to Kamalu lekulu akasa de kedusha. I saw Rav Kahana, and he made all these brachas by kiddush instead of making the bracha when you make the sukkah and when you put together lulav, etc., etc. No, you just wait for kiddush. You make the shechayanu by kiddush, and that covers everything. Right? But if somebody taka, the way we paskin is somebody did, was so happy when he built the sukkah, he said a shechayanu, then that's shechayanu. Yeah, then that shechayanu, he doesn't. It covers it, meaning he's fine by making that, right? Yeah. Dirabanan. Hayulafanav mitzvos harbe. If he has in front of him many mitzvos, right? Meaning, Rashi says you have to take the lulav, sukka, tefilin, tzitzis. So instead of making a bracha on each individual mitzvah, you say Asher Kedushan Mitzvos tzonu al ha-mitzvos. Rabbi Yehuda you make a bracha on each and every one by itself, which is obviously the way we pass it. You make separate brachas. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda say it? Baruch Hashem yom yom. Right, you should give a bracha. Hashem is benched every day. We only bench Hashem during the day and not at night. Every day, give to him, right? A me'ain berchosov, like bracha, which means all the different types of brachas that you have to make. So too here, you give to Hashem a bracha for each and every type of mitzvah that you're doing. Right? Fine. So that's how we know that you make a bracha each and every day. Right? So now we get into some musar here. Right? That the midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not like humans. Midas basar v'dam, right? By the midas basar v'dam by humans, kli reikon, if you have an empty kli on top of base now, machzik, it holds things. You have an empty kli, you can put liquid in there. Malay, if it's full, eina machzik, it doesn't hold anything. Abel midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the opposite. Malay machzik, if you have a full cup, meaning Rashi says, you have a lot of Torah, and then you can hold even more. The more you have, the more you can hold. Reikon, but if you have no Torah, then you don't hold on to the Torah. Shemar, vayim shemaya tishma, and it will be that if you hear shemaya tishma, if you would have already listened, then you'll be able to listen even more. Vayim lav, and if not, like tishma, then you're not going to be able to listen. Meaning, if you're the way Rashi says it, if when you're younger you learn, so then you're gonna be full of more of Torah, and you will be able to have more, right? But if not, if you don't have it when you're younger, it's gonna be much more difficult. If you heard it when it was old, right? Meaning if you chazer, then you'll be able. The new Torah will go in better. And if you turn your heart away, shuv like tishma, then you will not be able to hear anymore, right? Once you go to batala, so then batala is not going to let you, let it go anymore, right? Which is, so that's what it's saying. Like if you start texting in the middle of a shir or in the middle of this, that's turning it away, right? Fine. Okay, miyati noikas. So that's the end of that with the brachos. Now we get into the whole muktza sugya, right? Yeah. So miyati noikas. So what they do? They took the lulavim and the esrog from the kids, and they ate the esrog. Amar Rav Yochanan, esrog b'shvi asur. Right, the esrog on the 7th day is asur, meaning that's the last day. That's Hoshana Rabbah. B'shmini mutter, but on the 8th day it's mutter. Yeah, but meaning because that's no longer. Well, we'll get to see why. Sukka, afilu b'shmini asur, but sukka even on the 8th day is going to be asur. Okay, meaning on Shmini Atzeres. But esrog afilu b'shvi nami mutter. On the esrog is mutter even on the 7th day. So again, Rabbi Yochanan's sheet is very interesting. He's saying again, esrog and lulav l'char should be the same thing. They have the mitzvah of all 7 days, right? So the esrog on the 7th day is asur to use the entire 7th day. I mean, you come home from shul in the morning. Can you take that esrog? We discussed it yesterday. Can you take that esrog and eat it? He's saying no. But on the 8th day, it's mutter. But sukkah, even on the 8th day, is asur. And Rish Lakish says they're both mutter even on the 7th day. So when I come in, what's the Machlokes? Marsa mitzvos is katzoi. It's muktza for its mitzvah. It's muktza for a mitzvah. Like we discussed, this is different than muktza for Shabbos. There's something called muktza for a mitzvah, which means that you're not allowed to use it for your personal use. But if you need to move it, of course you move it. If it's for the need of the esrog. Yeah. So since it's hooked to the mitzvah, once the mitzvah is done in the morning, then you're good to go. No, the same way that we know that something that's muktza on Friday night is muktza for the entire Shabbos. So too, that once this thing was muktza for that day, it's going to be muktza for the rest of the day. That's the Machlokes. So we'll get to why he differentiates between lulav and sukka in a few more lines. Says Reish Lakish Rabbi Yochanan, Reish Lakish has the Kash Rabbi Yochanan says miyati noikes shamtin es luvein va'oichlin esrog saying. Esrog, right? They took away the lulav and they ate the esrogim. My love, who adin legedolim, doesn't it mean that they can take the elders, people over bar mitzvah, and eat their esrogim too? So we say loy tinoikes dafka. No, it means dafka kids. Ikeda Amri, Ace is the opposite. Ace Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish miyati noikes shamtin es luvein va'oichlin esrog saying. They took it from the kids and they ate the esrogim. Mashma tinoikes in gedolim loy. Only kids, because it's not really the mitzvah. It's only al chinuch, but it doesn't really mean that it's a legitimate muktzah, because it wasn't a legitimate mitzvah, because it belonged to a kid. But an adult.
Did he just switch the taich of miyad?
What?
Did he just switch the taich of miyad immediately?
Why?
Because if it means from the hands of, then it's gedolim, yes. Who grabbed it from the hands of the Tanaikas?
What? The adults.
Who? So the adults ate it.
Correct, but we're talking about the adults esrogim. They're not eating their adults esrogim. They're eating kids esrogim.
So that's not up to the mitzvah. Because it's a kid.
No, because it's just for chinuch.
It's a mitzvah of chinuch. No, but it's not a real. Yeah, you're right. It's a mitzvah of chinuch, but it's not.
No, I was saying
that.
that's
what you're saying.
Right. I was saying a mitzvah chinuch. I was saying it's for chinuch. That's why it's allowed.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see weiter. Yeah. So whatever it is, it's the opposite. So who are the nafilu gedolim? Really, it's gedolim too. It says tinoikas because they took the kids esrogim, but really they could take adults esrogim too. So that's not a kasha. Fine. So then Amrli Rapabla Baya Rabbi Yochanan. It's called Rabbi Yochanan. Ma'ishna sukka, ma'ishna esrog. How come one is you saying it's muktza? We're saying the what do you call it? How does it go again? Sukkah's muktza, even the 8th day, and lulav is not. Amrli sukkah the chazi lebein hashmashas. Meaning sukkah, that's chazir ben esrog. So let's say the night of Hoshana Rabbah. This is assuming Eretz Yisrael now. Going into Shmini Atzeres. So sukkah the chazir ben hashmashas. Let's say you decide you want to go sit in the sukkah, sit out and eat something, right? You got to sit in the sukkah because it's a suffix yom, suffix laila. I know you can't eat because of kiddush. Whatever. That's a whole different thing. But let's say you have a suda, you started it before, and you got to sit in the sukkah ben hashmashas, right? The Yisrami le sudasa. By Mesa Bigava Umecha Bagava. You have to sit in there and you have to eat there. So it's Katzayla Ben Hashmashas, so therefore it's going to be, since it's Muksala Ben Hashmashas, Umigadas Katzayla Ben Hashmashas is Katzayla Kula Yoma Dishmini. It's going to be also the whole 8th day. Right? Meaning if you're getting ready to sit in the sukkah, if you want to eat, you have to sit in the sukkah. So therefore it's Muksala the whole 8th day. Esrog, the Loichazila Ben Hashmashas, but in Esrog, that's not right for Ben Hashmashas because you wouldn't have to take it during Ben Hashmashas. You already took it in the morning. You're not taking Ben Hashmashas, right? Now I'm not so sure what that means. What happens if the guy didn't take it in the morning, right? So should he take it Ben Hashmashas l'chayra without a bracha? So, but either way, we're saying, but since there's no mitzvah to take it again Ben Hashmashas, lo yiskatzayla Ben Hashmashas, lo yiskatzayla kula yom d'shmini. So it's not muktza for Ben Hashmashas and it's not muktza for the whole 8th day. The Levi Amar. And Levi said, esrog afilu b'shmini aser. Esrog is aser even on the 8th day, meaning he goes the other way. But Bava the Shmuel, Avavu the Shmuel, Amar esrog b'shvi aser b'shmini mutter. Esrog is aser on the 7th and mutter on the 8th. Come Avu the Shmuel b'shishazi Levi, and Avu the Shmuel went and when he paskin, he changed his mind and he decided to go like Levi, that esrog is even aser on the 8th day. Come Rav Zera b'shitazi Avu the Shmuel, and Rav Zera went with the shita of Shmuel's father. Damar Rav Zera esrog shenifsala Also like l'kol shiva. An esrog that became puzzle, you're not allowed to eat it for all 7 days because it's muktza for the entire 7 days, even though now it's puzzle. Yeah. Then we get into the next thing, a chinuch thing. Amar Reb Zera, loy likni inish hashana liyanuka. Do not give, and we discussed this a couple of days ago, do not give your hashanas. I don't know why it's calling it hashanas here, but meaning the dalad minim to your child, b'yayma tova kama, on the first day Yom Tov, my timer, the yanuka miknakoni, a child can give over things.
Before you did it. Before you
What?
did it. After you did it, it's fine.
After you did it, it's fine, right? Okay. So the anuka miknakani, a child can acquire things. Aknuye loy makni, he can't give it to anybody. But ishtagak the nafik lulav sheina shalai. So if you give it to your child and you wait a shul, he says, "Let me shake the lulav and esrog," and you never shook it yet. So you give it to him matana because it has to be his, and then he gives it back. But he can't give it back. He doesn't have the power to give it back. So there's actually Machlokes rishonim if this means every kid, even a kid that has das, like a 10, 11, 12-year-old, it's assuming they have das, or is it only little kids? So push comes to shove, we're going to paskin that it's only really little kids that have this issue, not older kids.
Then you can't even say almanas lahafzer.
Yeah, almanas lahafzer won't work. Right? It won't work. Yeah, so that's one thing. Now, this one I personally have a big issue with this. Now, I don't have an issue with it, but this is a problem for me. You cannot tell a child that you're going to give him something. A lot of people make this mistake. Here's a fair gemara. You don't tell a child you're giving him something, and then don't give it to him. Because you're going to end up teaching him to lie. Daber sheker, to teach their tongue how to speak sheker. Right? Now, what was the negaya to me? Because I was trying. My kids have this little basket in their room over the closet. You know, you can play basketball. So I was going to wake them up a few months ago, and I threw the ball at my kid to wake him up, my 8-year-old. So, and then I'm standing in front of the basket, and I said, okay, I wanted to get him up. I said, you get the ball in the basket past me, I give you $1,000. Now, I thought I was standing right next to the basket. He'll throw it, and I'll just knock it out. I didn't chop. I was a few feet in front of it. He arched it over me, and it went in. All right? And so now what?
Now he's in Florida.
Now he's in Florida, correct. So I gave him all sorts of tirutzim. You know, I'm really going to give you $1,000 of all the shtick that we're going to do a whole year. It'll come out to $1,000. But bottom line is I owe him $1,000. I didn't know two ways about it, right? Yeah, well, how that works with gambling is a different story.
You don't have to pay for schar limit, so he owes you.
Yeah, he's going to tell me, keep your schar limit and let me stay home. That ain't going to be a threat to my kid.
With a smachtelei, can you not change that?
Aaron, I love it. Reb Zev is already calculating that extra 1,000. How he's going to get it?
I don't know. A smachtelei kanya. Yeah, it was a terrible chinuch move all the way around. That's the bottom line. All under the guise of trying to get my kid to go to school. You see, the whole thing is whatever.
School is bad.
That's exactly right. I just botched it all the way around. Yeah, fine. Anyways, we're plugged into Rabbi Yochanan Hashem. Now going back to the sugya of whether it's muktza on the 7th day or not. A plugged into Rabbi Yochanan Hashem and Lakish to Itmar. Hifra shiva esrog and l'shivas yom. Yeshivish guy. He's got, or chasidisha, whichever, a fruma. He has 7 different esrogim for every day. Right? Omar. Rav, so Rav said, Kol achas v'achas yaitze ba v'oichle la'alter. And each one he could be yaitze and then eat it immediately. Because he only had in his head that it's going to be a mitzvah for that day. Then it's over. Because the next day he's going on to the next esrog. Ravasi Omar, Kol achas v'achas yaitze ba v'oichle l'macher. Each and every one he eats it, he's yaitze ba and he eats it the next day. Right? But the next day, not that day. Why not that day? The mitzvah is done. So what's the Machlokes? Marsa for the mitzvos is katzoy. That it's muktza for that for mitzvah. Marsa for lekula yom is katzoy, and Marsa, and the other one says that it's muktza for the whole day. Yeah.
If you hold this katzoy the mitzvos, Can you eat it the night before you yotze the mitzvah? Because there isn't a mitzvah at night.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not, as you say, okay. Either way, we're going to stop over here because the next sugi tomorrow we start with for the chassidim. I don't know if Elio is still on there. Tomorrow's sugya is. There you go. Tomorrow's sugya. Do you sit in the sukkah shmini atzeres? That's coming right up. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I already have my answer, Tiago.
Tiago, give us an exciting or something tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to work on it. See if we can come up with anything geschmack.
Tzviakov, the din we said at the end of the Gemara that l'kuli yom is katzai. Why doesn't that make it biter that the 8th day it could be aser? Because if it's l'kuli yom is katzai, it goes into ben hashmashos. I know you can't be yotze, but similar to a sukkah, you can't. You're saying b'metzias you can't use it during that time, so therefore. It won't be similar to eating in a sukkah like that it's gonna be skatzoid for the mitzvah sukkah.
In which case you're talking about?
According to the shita that holds the kuli yom is skatzoid, which is Reb Yochanan shita, if I'm not mistaken. So the din is the whole 7th day it's also, but it's even according to that shita, the 8th day it's not also, correct? So we said the difference is that a sukkah you could go into bein hashmashos, and therefore it's skatzoid to the next day as well. But if that's true, l'chayra esrog was also into bein hashmashos also if it's kuli yom is katzai.
You want to say that but it's what I'm saying. One is talking about the bein hashmashos of the previous day, no?
No, the next day. Isn't kuli yom is katzai? The sukkah is aser going into the next day, and therefore the 8th day becomes aser because bein hashmashos it was katzai. So why isn't that true l'gami and esrog? And esrog is also bein hashmashos also into the next day, into the 8th day, bein hashmashos.
Right.
L'maisa biter it should be the exact same mitzvah l'gami esrog for the 8th day.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because you want to say that it's bein hashmashos. Even though, but is that like an extra bonus time?
I'm asking, what's the difference? The bonus time applies to both sukkah and esrog, according to Rabbi Yochanan shita. So why should we be mechalik?
Because one, you have to sit in the sukkah.
You don't have to sit in the sukkah bein hashmashos.
Yes, you do. That's exactly what he's saying. He's saying you do
mitzvah, you have to sit in it if you're making a meal.
No, it sounds like from the lashon, it sounds like you should sit there too. But okay, let's laniach that you're right, that it's only, but if there's a meal, you require. No, that's what he's saying. It's a chiyuv. It's not so much.
But that's only if there's a meal. It's not be'etzem. I thought it's because of the principle of miga diskatzoi. Be'etzem is aser. The whole day, including bein hashmashos. I don't know. Here, you're saying if it's because there's a tier where you could actually use it during the day, but I thought it's the whole day is also, and therefore since it goes to bein hashmashos, the biter asks on the 8th day.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I understood it. That's a chiyuv, right? It's a chiyuv. So since it's a chiyuv, then you have to. Then it's considered that it's as if it's yeah. That's what I think, but again, I don't know. I didn't have enough time to really work on this today. I should have.
Taisus speaks about it, but I'm not sure if he says anything specific. I don't know.
Oh yeah, let me know.
He says over here, "Di Yisrami leis Yudos." He says, "Avikat esrog nami muktza bein hashmashos."
Yeah, I hear. Somebody just asked me about if you switch one mezuzah to another mezuzah. You make a new bracha. I mean, it's pashut. You make a new bracha.
What do you mean?
Well, that would be like new tzitzis.
What?
What does that mean? You switch mezuzah?
Yeah.
You got a new mezuzah.
Oh no, but I'm saying, what if you just switch doors? You don't do. Then you wouldn't make a bracha, would you?
What do you mean switch doors?
Whatever. You have one mezuzah on one door, and you want the mezuzah on a different door. So you take one down, you switch it to the other door.
Right.
You would make a
Or if you
bracha
moved
again?
a mezuzah from a Dirabanan door to a Dioyraysa door.
Well, that would be more of a reason already.
Right.
Doug, can I ask you an unrelated shaila? It's not relevant already, but I'm curious what your passuk is.
Yeah.
So a lady called my wife. So I'm not making this up. I mean, you have crazier stuff, but she went to the mikveh on Tuesday night. She made an appointment. She went to the mikveh on Tuesday night, this lady. And then on Wednesday, she made an appointment again. So my wife called her and said, I think it was Wednesday and Thursday, and said, I think there's a glitch in the system. You made another appointment. She said, no, I'm going again. She said, why are you going again? So she said, I thought last night was Wednesday night. So I made an appointment. I went to the mikveh. And I woke up this morning and I looked at my phone and it said Wednesday. And I realized that it wasn't Wednesday yesterday. So I just made another appointment.
What?
Wow.
You want me to say this again?
Yeah, she what? She went a day early?
She went a day early, yeah.
I mean, that happened.
Yeah. So she said that she asked, so my wife said, do you want to ask the rabbi? She was going to text you. And she said, no, I asked my rabbi. He said I should just go again. Just do everything the same the next night.
Absolutely not.
You have to wait at least 3 days, no?
Yeah, you need to wait 3 days.
5.
Unless she wasn't with her husband.
My wife didn't ask details. She didn't.
Well, she should. Did she ask a legitimate rabbi?
I don't know. I don't know. What do you consider? We're still recording. I don't know what you consider legitimate.
I don't know either, but I'm saying you should know who